Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We provide fan-oriented and analytic discussions on a variety of animated shows, movies, and anime, currently featuring Steven Universe, Miraculous Ladybug, Star Wars, The Force of Evil, and others. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Delaney Stovall.
Hello.
And Justin Cummings.
Hey, everybody.
bleeped in the high. Okay, that's a good portent of things to come. So today, Delaney, Justin, and I will be discussing we'll be discussing a topic that is our weekly Miraculous Ladybug Roundtable. As you guys know, these are coming out on Sundays. This week, we will be discussing our favorite villains from the series. Top 5, we'll go through our top 5 favorite akoumatized villains from the series. I'll get more specific with the rules of the ranking later. And I'll give attribution for the topic idea, but we discuss Miraculous Ladybug every week on the Overly Animated Podcast. You can check us out at overlyanimated.com or search for the podcast or search Overly Animated on iTunes, your favorite podcatcher. Trying to pull up our last YouTube video at the same time. So, we're going to talk about our villains. Last time I asked for topic ideas, and thank you very much to Sakunarful on YouTube for, I don't know. I think that's the best I can do. Okay, first best akoumatized villain list. There you go. So we might do episodes at some point. We might do characters. I mean, everyone's getting mad at us for forgetting Nathaniel in our Ships podcast.
I knew that was going to happen. I thought about it for like 2 seconds, and I was like,
Let's be real.
Well, had you told me to add it to our list, I would have put it in there.
I didn't forget Nathaniel. I just did not want to talk about
Same.
Nathaniel, he's a nice enough dude when he's not akoumatized.
Yeah, also we forgot Alex and Kim, apparently.
Oh, right.
I did forget that Alex existed. We'll talk about Alex today, but I did forget that Alex existed. As happens on this podcast. Okay, so let's get into this. Our top 5 favorite akoumatized villains. So the rules for this is, we're not like ranking Hawkmoth. We're just ranking the people he akumatizes. Only the first person he akumatizes every episode. I don't know if there's been 2 or whatever. And it's not like people under the influence. So you can't like do Cat in the Valentine's episode, who gets like turned by the akumatized villain. It has to just be the
I can hear the
akumatized
fangirls screaming.
Yeah, I left that off so we wouldn't have to rank Cat. Like, there you go. So we're gonna go through this from the 26 episodes. I don't know how many akumatized villains we have. 25. Do the Origins have separate villains? I don't remember.
The Origins have the same one because it's Stone.
Yeah.
Right? So it's 25 probably. I don't remember.
Well, because one of the episodes, I know Auntie Bug is technically the second villain of that episode because Sabrina got akumatized first. But Auntie Bug's like the bigger one because it's the title.
Oh, yeah, okay. So asterisk Auntie Bug, you can do.
Okay, see, I was really concerned because I was like, is that against the rule? Is Dylan going to get mad at me? But I know she's on your list. So
I didn't even remember that Sabrina got akumatized in that episode.
Good.
I made sure not to put that just because I knew you wanted it. So
I'm safe.
Okay. Well, so we can talk about Sabrina or Khloe from that episode. Okay. Yeah, I should rewatch that.
She's on my list, though. Do I got to like alter it now?
I mean, you have some time. Okay, so we're gonna go through. So unlike our previous lists that we go through list podcasts, I don't want you to say if someone said yours. So like if I have Delaney's 2 at my number 5, Delaney shouldn't say that yet because we'll run out of things to talk about because we probably all the same like 7 1. So like just we'll go through each ones. We'll talk about some a few times, but in general, these are going to be brief, probably a shorter podcast. So start with any honorable mentions. Justin, any honorable mentions?
Yeah, my honorable mentions go to Horrificator because I love old-fashioned monster movies, so I can't help but love anything relating to the genre. And also Reflecta because I kind of like the trippy color palette. So those are my honorable mentions because I don't have much to say besides like aesthetic stuff and genre tributes. So
yeah, I like a Reflecta from an aesthetic perspective, but she's the most useless power. Like that was the stupidest power. It's turning other people into Reflectas, right?
Is that more stupid than putting people in bubbles?
They're both pretty bad. I did not have Nino on my list.
Is the bubbler not number 1?
No, Bubbler's not.
Are you kidding?
List. Did not make my list. Delaney, any honorable mentions?
Yeah, Gamer and Reflecta.
Again, I take issue with Reflecta here.
It's just the aesthetic of Reflecta. I just like how she looks. That's the only reason.
So, Asterisk,
like
by the way.
Volpina, I guess.
Okay, well, spoiler, Volpina's on my list, so we'll talk about Volpina.
Dylan breaks rule within the first 30 seconds. Of
we don't. I'm just saying we don't need to talk. Just an asterisk. I don't necessarily remember specifics of all these villains, so I remember when Delaney and I were going through, like, this villain's really cool. This villain's like inventive. This one's not inventive. It would have been better if we did this right after we watched the episode, so maybe Justin has more of a remembrance of some
I have an edge.
Yeah, I guess you have an edge. So
I still forgot half of these. So
my one honorable mention is Jaka Simon Says. It's more of the episode. Like, it's such a good episode, but that villain is very good. And he's not as notable as the other ones I have on here. Like, my top 5 are like clearly my 5 favorites, but he's very good. And that episode's just so well executed that you have to put the villain somewhere near the top. So that's my one honorable mention. Okay. Let's go into top 5. We're moving fast, but we're gonna move fast through this. Justin, who's your number 5?
My number 5, and keep in mind I saw the English, so there might be some issue with titles, but my number 5 is the Pharaoh.
The Pharaoh. Okay.
The Pharaoh.
What did you like about the Pharaoh?
The thing I like about the Pharaoh is so many of the akoumatized villains, their end goal is either to get Khloe or get revenge because Khloe did something. The Pharaoh, on the other hand, wants to resurrect an ancient Egyptian goddess. The Pharaoh is the only person who's stopping them is more important than stopping Hawkmoth under any circumstance.
Okay.
Because Hawkmoth wins, oh no, Paris. Pharaoh wins, that's probably bad. So for caring more than middle school Paris drama, go Pharaoh.
Okay. Yeah, I see that logic. I considered Pharaoh. We can say whether the person's on our list or not. We can do that. Pharaoh did not make my list, but I consider that he was a notable villain. Delaney, is Pharaoh on your list?
Yes, Pharaoh got edited into my list once I removed Auntie Bug, but Pharaoh was considered like for a while, but it's more because of the episode.
Yeah. I Justin makes good points though. A lot of our villains have dumb motivations, to be honest.
True.
Pharaoh's really interesting, so I think that's a good one. Delaney, who's your number 5?
The Puppeteer, Manon, because that
Manon made your list. Okay, interesting.
I do have legitimate reasoning for this, other than she's adorable and like it's great. And her design was pretty good.
Other than Hawkmoth akoumatized a child.
A child. This is horrible. But she, like, honestly, she's one of the most powerful villains. Like, she was able to resurrect other villains. Like, what? And she, like, almost won. Good job, Manon. Like, good job.
The fact that she brought back Lady Wi-Fi almost, like, qualifies her for this list.
See, that's it. Right? I mean, honestly, that's it for me.
Spoiler alert, Lady Wi-Fi is Delaney's number 1, I assume. So having the person who brought back Lady Wi-Fi would be... I understand why that make a Justin, is Manon on your list?
Yes, actually, 100%.
You guys are crazy. No, I briefly considered this because I remembered her, but she absolutely did not make my list.
By the way, I didn't remember her. I was on the TV Tropes website trying to remember all the villains because the wiki is not correct because it only has like what episodes have aired in America, and I'm like, there aren't like 6 villains on here. So I
always just use the regular Wikipedia episode list. I think it's a good
that's been my go-to for a long time.
I went specifically the villain names, and TV Tropes broke it down really well for me, and I was like, thanks, TV Tropes. And Dylan made a comment today and was like, you need more TV Tropes in your life, so I did it. So
yeah, you do need more TV trope acronyms. Yep. Good call. So by the way, I do not have we did not rank 6 to 26 or 6 to 25, but I do know who my number 25 is. The last place for sure is the Kung Fu villain.
Yes,
100% last place. So
not even on my list. Like I
just wanted to get that out there.
So Kung Fu is worse than Sabrina, who is literally invisible.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I guess if you count Sabrina, there's 26. So yeah, Sabrina is higher than Kung Fu for sure. Okay, my number 5. So my order doesn't really matter, honestly. Like,
does any matter on this really matter?
My top 5 is a clear top 5, but my 1 is going to be unexpected, I guess, compared to anyway. It's just the order matters less than who's.
I'm pretty sure Dylan's number 1 is my number 2, so stay tuned.
We'll see. So my number 5 is Khloe and Auntie Bug. Obviously,
really.
Couldn't be on the list though.
Yeah, but I didn't even remember that Sabrina was akoumatized. So
literally said this a minute ago that I had to list.
No, I reset the rules. You can include Khloe. That was the new rules. So,
Oh my god.
Yeah. Anyway.
Whatever.
So yeah, I mean, I love Khloe. We talked about this last week. I gave a whole speech about why Khloe's great. And no, she's not a good person. Asterisk. Yes, she's great. And
Asterisk.
asterisk. But her being Ladybug is great because that's the best part of her character is her Ladybug obsession. And honestly, I don't remember a lot of what she does in this episode, but I remember it's Khloe. So Khloe's great. So
Actually,
Khloe's
number 3 on my list. So.
Actually,
Really
number
thought
3.
that was going to be your number 1.
If I remembered what happened in the episode, it might be.
I know what Dylan's number 1 is. Don't worry, and it's not that. So
It
Better
might-
not be my number 1.
Delaney might know. Okay. Justin, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is Timebreaker or Chrono Girl, I believe she was known as in France.
Okay, what do you like?
So, Alex.
So this is Alex, yes, as previously mentioned. So what do you think about Alex? What do you like about
Alex
her as a villain?
as an akumatized villain is basically when you mix a weeping angel with a DeLorean on roller skates, is you get this character.
Is she a weeping angel though?
Because it's like freeze. It's like the
Maybe?
touching and the time energy.
I wasn't like
mixed with,
legitimately
like-
terrified of her though. So
No, she's not. So she's got like a little bit of that aspect, a little bit of DeLorean in her roller skates. I don't think it's the best power ever, and I think the fact that it was mostly, oh no, she's getting people on the track was kind of a waste of her powers. I think her powers were cooler than they were shown off to be. And in addition, I have expressed my anger at the fact that this episode was like, here's a cool sci-fi watch hologram looking thing that could open up so much potential, and then we're never going to say anything else about it for the rest of the show.
Yeah, we don't need to rant about time travel mechanics. We don't need to get into that. But
I'm not getting into that. I'm just getting into the fact that they brought in basically this magical MacGuffin for Alex. And so I think that Alex might, it's a crack theory, I know, but I think Alex might come back as some kind of a hero, hopefully with Timebreaker-esque abilities.
Did Alex disappear from our show because we're in an alternate Earth alternate timeline where Alex didn't survive this episode, and in season 2 we're going to transfer timelines and Alex is going to be back? Is that what's going to happen? Okay. Anyway.
Basically, Dylan just joined Channel Frederator's cartoon conspiracy videos.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what that is, but okay.
Watch it. They're great.
Delaney, is Alex on your list?
she's my number 2, and I think she's your number 1. Am I wrong?
Well, we'll see. You're not supposed to say where they are. She is on my list, so we'll talk about her a lot.
Oh, I thought. Oh,
yeah.
Delaney's not good with the rules today. I apologize.
Yeah, you're misremembering all the rules. So yeah, on all of our lists, definitely one of the villain highlights of the show. We'll get into it more. Delaney, who's your number 4?
My number 4 is Dylan's gonna be mad this isn't higher. Stormy Weather.
Okay, Stormy Weather. I mean, making the list is what matters. Yeah. So
yeah, Stormy Weather's
episode 1.
great.
I don't remember her name.
Aurora Boreal. I wrote it down.
Which is the stupidest name, but okay.
All of their names are stupid puns.
Aurora's
Literally,
a good
Jacques
name,
D, his name is a pun. Like,
I guess so. So what do you like about Stormy Weather?
well, her design's excellent, and like she's arguably like one of the most powerful villains. Like, she can control the weather. Also, like the whole premise of her was just excellent. Like, she was also like legitimately terrifying. Like, I was like, oh god, she can like actually do stuff. So I just really liked her. Her design's great. I mean, Delaney's whole list is girls. Like, are we really shocked? And it's just good.
My list also all girls. Yeah, typical. Nice. Yes. Obviously, Stormy Weather also on my list. On your list, Justin?
No, actually.
Oh man, that's a
What?
I think
You need the
OG. You have to have the OG.
Yeah, the OG. Like, that was
You're
one of
gonna
Dylan's like,
be-
original favorite until Lady
We'll
Wi-Fi.
see
Like,
we'll see what
Stormy Weather's
questionable.
best.
Yeah, we'll see what questionable choices Justin makes.
Oh, you're gonna hate my list so much.
Delaney
It's
and
not
I
even
probably have
fun.
the same list, but at least
Yeah,
Justin's
no.
will be different. That's why.
For the
it's-
record,
Mine's gonna
Dylan
be
and I
so
never
weird.
share lists. We just like are
Yeah, no,
literally
I don't
the
know
same.
what's on Delaney's list, but we.
This is why they keep me on the podcast, because I say something different, even if it's stupid.
No, that's honestly an important thing. Is differing the perspective, but we'll see if
That's
it's
also
stupid
so we
or not.
can like judge you. So
to be judged. Yeah, but we'll talk about Stormy Weather more on my list.
TBJ.
My number 4 is Volpina.
ooh, I'm not shocked.
Yeah, I mean, I love Volpina. Like, she's what's her real name? I always forget her real name.
Lila.
Lila. Yeah.
I knew it started with an L. That's all I knew.
Yeah. So one, if we're like Stormy Weather's design is incredible. We'll talk more about that. Lila, I love her design. I love the fox design. The concept of Volpina is great. I was like 100% sure that we were going to see actual Volpina, and then like we see fake Volpina akoumatized. That's so interesting, and she can make illusions, and the way that was applied was really great. It was just a really creative use of this villain. That whole episode is just really good. Yeah, I just think this is clearly one of our best villains. I mean, the power is like not like despite the fact that she's not powerful at all, it's used in such an interesting character way that I just feel like it really shines through looking back on the season. Delaney, I think she was on one of you. She was an honorable mention. Right?
My honorable mention.
Yeah,
Honestly,
Justin,
she should be in my top 5, but meh.
On your list, Justin.
I'm going to spoil. She is my number 3, so we're going straight there next.
Okay, yeah. You echo me or say what differently you liked about Volpina.
Okay, what I love about Volpina is so many akumatized villains. The character was either already in the background, like if they were a recurring character, like Ivan, Alex, all like the classmates, they at least were in the background at some point. And the other villains who we hadn't seen before, they never really came back as people at all. Lila, it seems, is going to be a recurring character in season 2. And so the fact that Lila was introduced kind of as an akumatized villain, basically, I think really sets her apart. I love this dynamic. I've loved it ever since Power Rangers, like the evil ranger gimmick. I love that idea. I love the way it was executed. I thought Lila was an interesting choice, not only as a character, but I like her also as a villain. And she's like the only person who I think could be a villain even when not akumatized. So, I mean, anyone who knows me, they know I'm a really big Lila fan. So, honestly, I think it was a very strong choice for what's quote-unquote the season finale.
Yeah, but you watched the show recently. I don't feel like anyone who knows you knows that you're a big Lila fan. I
talked about it last podcast, the podcast before that. Every podcast I'm on, I'm like, Lila?
Yeah, okay. Anyone who's heard you on the podcast before, okay. Sure. Yeah, I mean, your original point with the just introducing her in this, like, is in the episode, it's unique for the show and it stands out so much. I disagree. Lila wouldn't be a natural villain because she's obviously a sweetheart and underneath. Like, that's
sure.
Yeah,
Dylan's siren song.
She's got that villain out. She can be a villain, but she can also be, it's like Jinx and Teen Titans. You can see both sides of the character.
She's from Teen Titans. She's Terra. She's Terra.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I don't want her to die / not die / is that Terra, a spoiler anymore?
Unsurprisingly,
no.
Terra was like my fave, so
I love
Shocker,
Terra.
not really.
Shocker, yeah. Okay, let's.
Lila's not even like evil enough to be Jinx, though. Sorry, Jinx is like too much.
We'll see next season. We'll see. Okay, who was that? Your number 3, Delaney. Who's your number 3?
Well, since Delaney doesn't understand the rules anymore, I had Auntie Bug, and then it's Pharaoh. So like they're both my number 3. I'm really
okay. Whatever you want. Whatever you want.
Like Auntie Bug, clearly Khloe as the villain. Like literally we were waiting the entire time for Khloe to be the villain. Like that was built up. Like I was like, where's Khloe? Where's Khloe? When's Khloe gonna be the villain? Hello. Then she's literally dressed up as Ladybug and becomes the villain. Excellent.
Yeah.
And just. Yeah. Also, like, who doesn't like that stupid backwards trope where it's, like, the complete opposite of the superhero? Like, that's so obnoxious and it's wonderful. And it's just good. And Khloe being the villain is just the most natural thing in the world, and I want to see more of it, or, Khloe be the B, whatever,
No, she's the B.
Khloe being the villain, like, that was A+ stuff.
I don't remember if I thought that was going to happen or not. Were we like, it's going to happen?
Okay, literally the whole time we were like, when's Khloe going to be the villain? Because Khloe literally causes all, we're like, when's Khloe going to be the villain?
Yeah.
Okay, she sits in the classroom. We knew she was going to be a villain.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, Khloe's great, and that's a great choice.
No,
so.
Khloe's wonderful. And then I also had Pharaoh, because like kind of basically what Justin said. Pharaoh's cool, like, though more, it was just the episode is excellent, and so like, and part of the reason the episode is excellent is because the villain is so interesting, but
Yeah. Okay.
So I really liked that episode when it happened.
Yeah, that was one of the highlights of the early viewing for sure. Okay, number 3. We only talk about it a lot here because we're gonna get into it later with Delaney. Lady Wi-Fi. If this could be 1, 2, 3. It doesn't matter. Always great.
So
this episode's great.
Dylan.
She's
so
great.
Low.
It's great. The episode's great. Whatever.
Whatever. I'm gonna. You suck.
We'll get into it. We'll get into it more. Justin, who's your number 2?
My number 2 is actually the Puppeteer.
Okay.
Wow.
So
that's so high.
defend this choice because I'm
Okay, here's my
skeptical.
thing. The fact is, and how's it pronounced? I always heard it as Mano in the English.
Manon.
I don't know. Manon? Okay.
Manon, I think, yeah.
She, I'm pretty sure, was the youngest person akoumatized. I think
Literal
that's
child.
Yes, last.
like the fandom. I think because the fandom was like, "Oh, Hawkmoth's just misunderstood," and then he did this, and they were like, "You attacked." It's like you akumatized a child. You are a terrible person.
I mean, technically,
And I
they're
think
all
this
children,
was-
but-
Well, I mean, like even
Literal
younger than the superhero, you know. And so basically, I think it was. I think what I really liked about it was kind of a callback because we hadn't really seen Manon since Stormy Weather, and just seeing that kind of callback, seeing I love the power idea, kind of like the voodoo doll aspect, the bringing the villains back, and the fact that basically her powers were infinite. I mean, she only used those dolls of like the villains we had seen, but imagine if she like went to a comic book store and found like action figures. She could just run Paris. So I mean, she basically I love that power set. I thought it was so cool, so much potential. I think it was definitely, when you think about it, one of the more harrowing situations. It's a bit more intense.
She almost won.
Yeah, and she was good too. That's the thing, is it's like all the adults who got beaten so easily, and then this like 8-year-old, I think she is, 7, 8, something like that, almost wins. So I think I didn't expect it at all. I thought after Stormy Weather we'd never see her again, and I didn't really like her that much in Stormy Weather, but I had to rewatch the first 3 minutes of that episode like 5 times to get the show to load. So all I heard was her whining for 15 minutes.
Okay.
But she came back. I liked her. Rock on, Puppeteer.
Yeah. Certainly top 5 most powerful villains.
Yes.
Certainly top 5 most over the top concepts.
Top 5 most questionable villains.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not convinced that Manon is among our best villains overall, but it's certainly a matter of personal preference. I do like the concept of bringing back old villains, though. That was great. And yeah, no, I remember the end of this episode. It was really, I think that was one of the best sequences of the show, was the end of her episode. Delaney, who's your number 2?
Alex.
Okay.
Because, like, it's like literally Doctor Who. Like, who doesn't like time travel episodes? Like, Dylan and I raved about this episode when we watched it because it was like, oh my god, time travel, yes! And then, like, Delaney loves, like, rollerblades because she's, like, stuck in the 90s, but even though she was, like, alive for 4 years in the 90s. Anyway.
Yeah, don't even with that, but okay.
Anyway, it's just good. Like, that was just a really good episode. She was a really good villain. She was just really interesting. And honestly, she's probably one of the most different villains from the rest. I mean, we talk about how they're all unique, but no, like, you out there. Alex was out there. And Alex is just a cool character in general, and I want more Alex, and she's just great. Like, it was just that episode's just really good, and she was pretty excellent, considering she was on rollerblades, so.
Yeah. More to be discussed. Good choice, of course. And yeah, I mean, again, kind of arbitrary ranking at this point. I have Stormy Weather at 2. She's was always my go-to discussion point for a good villain.
Yep.
Yeah, her design's incredible. The usage of her is really good. She's very powerful. Just it's just if all the villains were more solid. I mean, some of them go off track and they're good, like my number 1, but like it's some of them are could be more used. Like it's good. Like the first episode of the show has a great villain. She's one of the random people villains.
Yes.
I don't know if we ever see her again in the series.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
But also she's fab design, and like her as a villain is really good. So Stormy Weather is definitely one of my favorites at my number 2. Okay, Delaney and I's 1 are obvious. I don't know if we've revealed Justin's 1 yet.
We have not. I'm really curious, since we do have a lot of time,
Okay,
more so than usual. Can you both try to guess who my number 1 villain is?
Is it someone we've discussed?
It is not someone that... no, it's not someone who's been brought up even in honorable mentions.
Oh, okay. Let me look on my list. I have the TV tropes up. He's gonna pick something stupid.
So I think Evil Strader. Evil Strader is definitely an option here. Maybe Roger Kopp.
Illustrator almost made my
If
list.
it's Mr. Pigeon, we have to kick you out, Justin.
Yeah, I skipped that.
I
one.
was told to put Mr. Pigeon on my list. I avoided that because people just wanted to see me get yelled at on podcasts.
Obviously.
So I didn't put Mr. Pigeon on
I
here.
could see it being the mime.
Was it Darkblade?
I don't even remember.
Yes,
Darkblade.
100% Dark. No, it was not Darkblade in the slightest. I forgot about Darkblade.
Wait, oh yeah, which is the one with the crocodiles akoumatized? That's my number one.
Guitar villain.
That's my number one.
Wasn't that Animan?
That's one of those. Animator Guitar Villain. There's two of them. I don't know.
Oh, it's probably the Origins one, right? I bet
Stoneheart.
Yeah, I bet it's Stoneheart.
So my number one villain is Guitar Villain.
Oh my god, is it actually?
It is.
It should be.
Oh my
Are
god.
you
should
serious?
Be. It is. Yes. I'm 100% serious. My number one is Guitar Villain.
Okay, is that the one where the crocodile is akoumatized?
I'm pretty sure it's the one with Jagged Stone.
It's Jagged Stone, and he looks stupid. I'm looking at the picture right now.
Yeah, his pet dragon. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So
yes, the crocodile becomes a dragon.
Okay.
See, my thing is, Jagged Stone is my favorite recurring character in the show.
Like the
He's
only
basically
recurring character, but
okay. Well, I mean, the mayor's a recurring character. I'd say, the principal. People who don't see every episode. I love when Jagged shows up. He's like the mix of Mick Jagger and Russell Brand in the best way possible. When he finally got akoumatized, I was waiting, and he finally did. I can't really explain why I love Guitar Villain so much, but I love hair metal, and seeing like a hair metal villain with a dragon crocodile sidekick. I felt the 80s, and I wasn't even alive in the 80s, but I was like, I'm an 80s kid watching this,
it was
great.
One, I mean, look, this isn't a great choice, but I'm fine with it.
Personal list. It's personal pick.
Look, it's not a great choice, but I'm fine with it because he is a pet dragon. Like
he has, and it's like purple, right? Wasn't the dragon
yeah.
for some stupid reason? It was excellent.
Like that's great. So I'm fine with this.
No,
like,
Guitar Villain was pretty excellent in that it was so ridiculous. Like that episode was just like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But Jagged Stone as a whole is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. So it's just the crocodile. Yeah, Jagged Stone is great. I could see that for you. So there you go. There's Justin's one. I'm glad we have a different representation here from other than identical lists. Delaney, talk about Lady Wi-Fi.
Yeah, Lady Wi-Fi is indeed Delaney's number one. So shocking. I mean, like Dylan is with Stormy Weather. Like when we cover podcasts, I'm like Lady Wi-Fi. Alia is the best. Delaney loves Alia. Lady Wi-Fi. Okay, and Lady Wi-Fi was excellent one. It's I don't think we really thought Alia was going to be a villain. And we were like, oh my god, Lady Wi-Fi. And then her powers were ridiculous. It was she was literally the internet. That's terrifying. And she did some really neat stuff. And it's Alia. And my top 3 points are it's Alia as the villain. And it's the best. Her design's excellent. And then they keep bringing her back because they know she's awesome. So Lady Wi-Fi is clearly the best. Just hands down. She can pause you with her phone. She becomes useless without her phone, but who cares? And then, she was all up on Ladybug. What's not to love about Lady Wi-Fi?
So here's what I'm gonna say. We're gonna grade Lady Wi-Fi like an Olympic gymnastics floor routine. So
okay.
She starts out with a high core difficulty. She's clearly great.
16.5. This is hard stuff.
She has her own move named after her. She's clearly up there, right? She's higher. I forget the term for that. But there's severe deductions, I think, when we're getting into Lady Wi-Fi. The problem is I don't understand why any of her things do what they do, and the use of technology and Wi-Fi is applied like it is. I feel like there's a lot of big potential here, and it's interesting. But and then I think at some point we go out to the router or something.
Yeah, no, they go onto this giant pole, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. And then that's how they stop her because they're like, no internet. It's stupid. It's pretty terrible.
So that's my thing. Is the internal logic is
no. The internal logic is awful. But granted, that's the entire show's internal logic is busted. So
yeah, I mean it's certainly something that also happens with other ones. But that's my feelings on Lady Wi-Fi. Is the concept, of course. I mean it's all and stuff. But the application I feel is good, but is a little questionable. So that's why she wasn't
she'd
one
still
for
get
me.
the bronze at least though.
Okay, she did get the bronze on my list. She was the third, so
I'm gonna interject on Lady Wi-Fi. Delaney, you were talking about how you were wondering, kind of waiting to see if Alia would be akumatized. I watched the Wikipedia order where that episode is like fourth, so I think I didn't get the same impact of it happening because it happened like so early on for me. I think had it been, I think that definitely needs to be seen later on. Like let Alia be built up.
Well, that's what
Because it
makes
was
it
like
so great.
right after
Like,
Nina, basically.
It wasn't
Well-
that much later for us, but it was like eighth or something.
well, the
Like,
thing is,
still,
like,
yeah.
Alia is one of the like few side characters who actually gets development. Like, you get to know Alia. Alia is Marinette's best friend. You love Alia. Like, Alia is awesome. And then like,
Mhm.
holy crap, she becomes a villain. And is like after Marinette. Like, it's excellent.
Yeah, Lady Wi-Fi should have been aired later. I agree.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
I
Like
mean,
when you view it fourth, it's like random Nina, random Alia.
Right.
It's just the flow is just so odd.
Yeah, I mean it's number 3 in production order, but that's one they could have done later. So, yeah. So there's Lainey's number 1 Lady Wi-Fi to surprise. Yeah. To close out, we talked about it already. Alex Timebreaker. My
Knew
number
it.
one, of
I
course.
said it.
Yeah.
I called it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Knew it.
I mean, this is the one that stands out to me as the most creative, and this episode is just so nuts. Like,
It's so good.
I think if we're gonna rank like best versus favorite episodes, I think this would be my favorite. I mean, you have like Marinette talking to Ladybug, you have like Ladybug talking to Ladybug. Like, it's so good. Like, and all of it's because of it's more of the concept. But I feel like the concept is her power, so I think it counts for her. So this is my favorite villain concept. I love just how I love the application. Like they just go so far with it, and it's so interesting. And no, it doesn't make
travel
sense.
to the limit. Let's
Yeah.
just...
Like, no, obviously the show's not going to do a sensical time travel. Like, the show doesn't do it.
I mean, it's based on butterflies taking over people. Like, I mean, can we expect
Hey,
more?
Shadow Realm butterflies for the record.
No,
Oh
no. Don't say that again.
Oh my
Don't do that again.
Ooh.
But yeah, it's so fun, and she's a really fun villain, and I don't like that she disappears in the series. I think
Yeah.
probably after this episode.
Well, like, we get to know their family. Like, it's Alex and then her brother is the Pharaoh, and like we see their dad, and it's like, okay, what?
And then none of them, yeah. And if you look at production order, this is 16th, so maybe she's not supposed to disappear, but the way they aired it, definitely disappears.
Maybe she'll come back. Bring Alex
I
back.
do hope so. Yeah, bring Alex back. Let's get out of this timeline and move to a different one. This one I'm definitely going to rewatch at some point before we do episode rankings. I'll rewatch this one and just see how great Alex really is. Just overall, this episode's the most fun I think out of the villain applications. That's why it's my number 1. But yeah, there you go. So there's our lists. Let us know what you agree with, what you disagree with. I mean,
And if
were
we were
there-
like 100% predictable, because we know we were.
yeah. Well, me and Delaney were. Who didn't we mention? We didn't mention Stoneheart. I think that's a notable akumatized.
He rocks.
Really?
Yeah, sure, he does. I mentioned Jackady. I'm glad we got him in there because I feel like he's definitely one of the better ones.
I considered putting him in my honorable mentions, so...
Princess Fragrance. I'm glad she was not listed because she's not.
That was going to be my call next for Justin's number 1 until he said guitar villain.
Look, I love Rose, but that was not a good villain.
No.
So, no.
Boo.
Pixelator. I don't even remember.
Oh, there's the
Pixelator was
camera.
the one. Yeah, that was.
I liked the concept of that just because they're like trapped in like the white space. I like
There
that.
was
Oh,
Jagged
yeah.
Stone in that episode.
Okay, this I think is in contention for one of the more creative concepts.
See,
here.
I actually was thinking about like adding because I like really liked the concept of like being stuck in the void because that's the weird stuff Delaney likes, but
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. So I left.
I could that might make my top 10 if we expanded it. Who knows?
Dark
we didn't-
Cupid wasn't that bad.
Well, I'm going
It
in
just this
backwards
kid's
order.
design was really cool.
Oh.
Auntie Bug. We had Sabrina. We didn't talk. Is not make the list. I think
Her aesthetic was awful.
I think that making Sabrina invisible is a really good use of the character.
Yes.
Animan. What was the villain in Animan?
He was like
Animan.
a panther. Yeah, he like turned into animals and they trapped him in the bus and that's when Ladybug threw herself into the dinosaur and Cat was like, oh, it's like she's fine.
It was basically a bad version of DC Comics Animal Man, and if you want a good Animan, there you go.
Okay, yeah, I'm not a fan of that one. I think that's bottom 5-ish. Briefly talked about Gamer, right?
Yeah, that was in my honorable mention.
Yeah, Max.
I love the fight in that episode. I'm not the biggest fan of Gamer as a villain, but the mech fight, it was just wonderful.
Yeah, we talked about the mime, or we didn't talk about the mime. I feel like they used that creatively. I don't remember too much of the episode, but I think that was. I don't think I hated the mime.
I don't think
I felt it. It was nice to see like a genuine kind of portrayal of a mime, not the villain itself, but like the character before they got akumatized. You know, like a current
extensive backstory for this.
Yes.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. Darkblade.
That was the fencing teacher.
Huzzah!
Don't remember much about this one.
It was
a
really
nice- that's
stupid.
about
And it
all
was
you
like
need to know.
it was ridiculous. Everyone got turned into knights. It was crazy.
And then there were more nights.
We talked about Horrificator, Dark Cupid. I feel like everyone remembers Adrian from this episode. I barely even remember Kim.
Well, I just like Kim's design. I think Kim has a
Oh,
really good
yeah.
design, but other than that, it was like meh. But granted, I don't like those kinds of episodes, so I wasn't going to like him.
This is everyone's favorite episode, let's remember. So
I know.
This wins all. I've seen polls. This is like clearly number one.
Of course.
So, yeah, you know.
This kept reminding me of that one Danny Phantom episode. I couldn't get behind it.
I feel like
Yeah, what do we think about Copycat?
I considered like putting that somewhere on my list because like that was interesting. It was like an interesting concept, but then it was also like really annoying.
That's
So
the Adrian version of Auntie Bug, yeah.
It was a good way because eventually we were gonna get the no, I'm the real cat noir. That was gonna happen eventually. I'm glad they did this. If we're gonna get it, I'm glad this was the way we got it instead of like I'm a clone or I'm his lost brother or something like that. I'm glad it was a cool, kind of unique take on it as to why he became cat basically.
We got Roger Cop. That episode was nutso. I remember that. Like,
Yep.
Hi, RoboCop. How you
it's
doing?
literally RoboCop.
I could see this being in the top 10. Like, this episode was just crazy, and I don't really think it's the villain himself. He's kind of just a RoboCop tribute, but yeah, the episode was interesting. Evil Strader. No Nathaniel Love for us. I guess. Did we talk about it? Was he on anyone's? Was he on yours,
No.
Justin?
No, he should have been an honorable mention, but I forgot.
Yeah,
Like everyone
okay.
forgets him.
Mr. Pigeon.
Sigh, Mr. Pigeon.
I don't even remember this.
Well, I mean, the only thing he really deserves mention for is he was in that original anime thing from like 2012. So
Okay, yeah, sure,
he's one of the OG villains, but
yeah. And then the last one we even talked about is the Bubbler. No Nino Love.
He's the bubbler.
I'm gonna put you in a bubble so my bro can have a party. No adults. Jimmy Neutron. Woo!
Basically.
Yeah, not good, not great. Not
Like, I think it's like I really like Nino sometimes, and then like they do this, and I'm like, really? Granted, this was the first episode we watched, and I was like, what are we watching?
Yeah, it was our first episode. It was very weird. Yeah.
We're like, what?
Okay, so there you go. Let us know your choices, what you agree with, what you disagree with. I defend Dark Cupid if you must.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
Yeah, and let us know topics for next week. I still don't have a topic for next week. We'll do episodes eventually, but let us know if you want a character discussion or stuff like that. Any Ladybug Roundtable, and we'll consider it. I'm Dylan Hysen, Delaney Stovall, Justin Cummings, overlyanimated.com. You can support us on patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thank you very much to Mitch Cordell, Beatrice, Nate, Andy, Jamie, Rachel, John Ryan, Catherine, Taylor, Davon, Jade, John, Phoenician, Fever, Rich Corners, Steve Beach, Change, Nathan, Fillion, Buzz Like Your Mailman, Rich Rose, Johnny Bravo, Brian, Cookcat, Needle, Diamond Day, Jewel, Garfield, TBD. Final comments on any of the villain stuff or Miraculous Ladybug?
Lady Wi-Fi is the best, clearly.
Clearly. I feel like I gave my grading though as to why that's not true. I feel like I gave my deductions.
I mean, you gave it an Olympic format, which like I really appreciate
Yeah,
because we
so-
all know Delaney really likes the Olympics, but
That's why there's no comeback. There's no comeback. Like it was too eloquently presented, obviously.
Yes.
Justin, final comments.
if it's ever my turn to pick the roundtable discussion, Jagged Stone, the man, the myth, the legend.
I don't know if I have half an hour in me on Jagged Stone.
I don't know if I
I
have
do.
10 minutes in me on Jagged
I
Stone.
will sit here for an hour just talking about Jagged Stone and how great he is,
Justin,
and
have
how
you
great
seen-
music is.
Have you seen any of the French version of the show?
Yeah,
I have
you?
not at all.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
listen
yeah,
to
you-
Jagged Stone's voice. It's really
Yeah, you
good
sh-
in
you
French.
should, yeah.
So you should go do that.
So I'll spend half an hour in English, half an hour in French. You guys are writing my episode for me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, listen, his French voice, very good. I assume it sounds, I don't know who voices him in English, but it's,
Basically Russell Brand.
did we, I don't know if we had Jagged Stone, because Delaney and I watched until like episode 10 or something. I don't think he was in the first 10.
I feel like
If he was, it was like a line.
Yeah, he might have been, anyway. So there you go. Comments, YouTube comments, Tumblr, or comments on the website, overlyanimated.com. Thank you very much, guys, for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.